What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about bodies. My body, your body, and how we love them in this age of the algorithmic internet. For those of you who are new here, my name is Fresha and I'm a 33-year-old creative director living by herself here in New York City. I'm always thinking about how I can live a happier, healthier, more creative life. And since you clicked on the video, I'm hoping that you and I can learn how to build the lives that we want together. If I can just get my bangs to cooperate. How does one have a better relationship with their body? I have some ideas. Like I said in the intro, I'm a 33-year-old grown-ass woman living in one of the richest cities in the world and one of the plastic surgery capitals of the world. Most recently having lived in another one of the plastic surgery capitals of the world, Los Angeles. In LA and New York, people want to keep it tight. You know what I mean? They want to keep it tight. They want to keep it lifted. They want to keep it taut. They want to keep things small, thin. They want skin to be glassy and gooey and dewy and soft and baby. They want to be tan but not too tan. They want teeth to be perfect and straight and white. They want the body to be snatched at all times. So easy to say walking out and about in these cities is a real exercise in body neutrality. In your own mind, you know? It's a battlefront up here sometimes. But you don't have to live in these cities to deal with these unrealistic beauty standards. No. Because we're the luckiest generation. The generation that was raised with social media, which is constantly throwing unrealistic beauty standards in our faces. Unhealthy weight loss hacks, other people's plastic surgery, bad diets, cleanses, strangers rating other strangers' bodies on the internet. It never stops. All of this can be really hard to escape, even if you put a lot of effort into avoiding it. And all of this makes it really hard to have a healthy relationship with our bodies. And I, wise in my 33 years here on planet Earth, I've been through some ups and downs with my body for sure. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I've been through the wellness ringer. I entered the mouth of the beast enthusiastically, I got chewed up, I got spit out. I am by no means here to tell you that I've got it all figured out. But after going to war with my body more than a few times, believe me when I tell you, I've never felt more at peace with my body than I do today. But this doesn't happen magically and it doesn't happen overnight. And there are a few key changes that I made in my online life and my IRL life that have helped me develop a much healthier relationship with my body. So let's get into those now. The first major change I made, and I would recommend to you, is to curate your inputs. Young people today just have so many more inputs in their media diet than even their older siblings had, and certainly much more than their parents had. You know, the generations before us, all they really had was linear television, magazines. We have all of those things in addition to podcasts, social media channels, of which there are a dozen, if not more. I mean, we even have way more choices in terms of traditional media, like movies and television, with all of the streaming services. We have a ton of inputs, and we are exposed to so many different ways of life, lifestyle, health choices, body types, and beauty standards than humans have ever been in the past. In some ways, that's a good thing. I think that some people have been able to find community online or find images of themselves mirrored online that certainly didn't exist in, say, the 90s in the magazine industry. But as with many things, I think there is a flip side to this more inclusive side of social media, which is we're also way more exposed to body policing and body shaming. We see way more TikToks, IG Reels, YouTube videos, chronicling people's problematic relationships to food, their bodies, and wellness. We are way more likely today to be served up some YouTube mini-series about someone's extreme weight loss journey where they're losing like 10 pounds a week by simply not eating, taking stimulants, and flushing out their bodies with tummy tea. That's not normal and that's not healthy. But in our media landscape, it is normalized. To that, I say no thank you. In recent years, I have become ruthless in hitting unsubscribe and hitting unfollow. And that has done wonders for my mental health. That has done wonders for my relationship to my body and to my relationship with food. For someone who spent her 20s dealing with a borderline orthorexic relationship to food, it feels like the difference between night and day. It's done wonders for the way that I look at my body and the way that I treat my body. My general rule on social media is I try to only follow creators who are body positive or at the very least body neutral. And keep in mind there's an emphasis on general here. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions to this. I'm not going around looking for reasons to unfollow someone because that feels like a different kind of obsession. But when I start to see a pattern in someone's content that just doesn't feel good to me, there's no question it's an unsubscribe for me, dog. Whether or not you want to come up with similar rules for yourself is totally up to you. And also, your rule doesn't have to look exactly like my rule, but I think as much as you can, try to design your online environment to cater to what benefits benefits you from being online and to what makes being online an enriching activity for you. Please go at it, more power to you, and don't hesitate to play around. I think that's going to do you a lot of good. There's just no excuse to follow people who make you in any way, shape, or form make you feel bad about your body, even if that's not their intention. I would argue that most people online who are triggering to you or who make you feel bad about the way that you look, it's not their intention. Most of the time. There are some weird people out there. But even if it wasn't their intention, there are some key people online whose content has put me in a bad place in the past, particularly when I was younger and my media literacy wasn't the best. It's really disorienting to watch someone else have a really toxic relationship to their body, or an unhealthy relationship to food, or an unhealthy relationship to exercise and movement. And some people might just say, don't watch it. That's essentially what I'm saying. But like I said at the top, it's so pervasive and it's so normalized. It's really hard in the beginning to train an algorithm away from that content because it does so well. It's hard even just seeing someone who clearly is in the throes of disordered eating or with a really bad body image. When I was younger, it put me into this mindset of, should I be doing that? Is this the type of behavior that's necessary to have a socially acceptable body? Do I actually need to be obsessive? Do I need to be neurotic about this thing? Now that I'm older, it's much more the case of like, no, I can't watch this. It just feels like watching a train wreck. It just makes you feel really sad for that person, and the best you can do is just hope that they get the help that they need. But anyone who makes you question the value of your own body, the acceptability of your own body, and does so through fear-based language or by modeling toxic behaviors, to me, again, it's a swift and decisive unsubscribe. I think there's a really productive discussion online where people are like, you're too sensitive, you can't handle the truth, and you can't handle hard things. Well, no. Just because I don't want to go on a date with a workaholic consultant who works 80 to 90 hours a week and literally can't talk about anything other than work because they have such a toxic fucking relationship to it, just because I don't want to spend time with that person doesn't mean that I don't know how to work hard. It doesn't mean that I don't know how to have a successful career. Doesn't mean that I don't believe in the value of hard work or have the capacity to execute it in my own life. It's just that of the limited time I have in a day, I don't want to spend my time with someone who hasn't done the work on themselves and in their relationship to this one thing, who are modeling astonishingly unhealthy relationships and patterns to this thing. That to me is not weakness or softness. That to me is a demonstration of maturity. It shows that you're self-aware around what your values are, the impact that people can have on you, and having the self-trust and decisiveness to just cut it off. That to me is actually the hard and the mature thing to do. And anyone who says otherwise probably isn't worth your time. All right, tip number 2. I think it's important to find your favorite form of movement. And if you hate exercise, don't click away just yet because we'll get into that later. One of the best ways I've built a better relationship with my body is to appreciate all the things it can do for me from a physical standpoint. Now, let me kick off this point with some real honesty here. There have been seasons in my life where that list was not super long. And that's okay. Growing up as a kid, I was a dancer. I did ballet for 10 years. And then I became a pretty serious runner as a teenager. I did track and field, and I did long distance running in the off season. Even in my early 20s, I'd run half marathons. I love running. It's much more of a mental thing for me, but packaged into those mental health benefits are opportunities to marvel at and appreciate my body. How it can run for a long time, how it can push through hard sets, even taking the time to appreciate how the muscles in my legs have developed after I've been running for a couple of weeks. To all my runners out there, you know when you've had a really hard run and then you like flex your calf later in the evening, you're like, damn, check me out. Or that feeling when you start to work out, like lifting weights in the gym or maybe going to a class, and you start to feel weird muscles developing, you're like, I didn't even know I had a muscle there. I think it's important to take the time to find the right movement practice for you because it just increases the number of opportunities you have to develop your appreciation of your body beyond how it looks. It takes your appreciation of your body beyond the aesthetic and into what it can do in the world and what it can do for you. And this movement doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to run a marathon. If you hate vigorous exercise, there are so many little wins to be appreciated in just going on walks. When I'm coming out of a season where I have not been active for a long time, my first go-to activity is to just walk. I'm not trying to run. I'm not trying to pump iron at the gym either. I will just start walking. Even in that gentle practice, there are so many things to marvel at and there are so many wins to celebrate. One thing I'll always notice if I've been sedentary for a long time, not even a long time, like even just a couple of weeks, and I start walking again, I'll start to notice the muscles in my feet more. I haven't engaged those muscles in a long time, so my feet feet get kind of sore on those first few walks. And at first it's a little uncomfortable, but then I notice as I get more consistent with it, my feet get a little bit tougher, they get a little bit stronger, they have a greater capacity to handle longer walks, maybe some more hills. And that's about time where I feel like I'm ready to start moving into a running program. Or just keep walking. You can even observe these things in something like gentle stretching. If you start to stretch a couple of times a week, or maybe for a few minutes each day, it's not that long before you're able to feel yourself leaning into certain stretches more. And making those small observations about your body and its capacity feels really good. Another reason why I think it's so important to have some kind of movement practice is that it helps connect your mind to your body in more consistent and positive ways. I think a lot of times for most of us, when we notice our bodies, it's usually for a negative reason. So with movement, I try to do the opposite. Moving my body helps increase the number of times I'm likely to notice something positive about it that's unrelated to my looks. It takes my perception of my body offline and into the real world. You're not just comparing some mental image of your body to the ones you're seeing online. You're instead appreciating the subjective, empirical experience of being in your own body. And that's something the internet should never be able to take away from you. Finally, I think the other thing that a movement practice does is that it reminds you at least a couple times a week, if not every day, hopefully, that your body is more than something to just be looked at. It's the thing that keeps you alive. It's this thing that holds this little noggin up here that's full of great ideas and funny jokes and beautiful memories. It keeps you moving through time and space. And I think it's a good reminder to have. I think we all would benefit from a few more of those reminders. They're really important and they're really key in improving your relationship to your body in this online world. All right, next point. Similarly, in this vein, I think a really positive thing to do is to begin a gratitude practice around your body. And don't click off just yet. I know gratitude practice is like kind of annoying language to most people. It doesn't have to be anything formal. You don't have to buy a special journal for it, though you can if you want. You don't have to build an entire ritual around this gratitude list that requires you to like get up at 5 a.m. You don't have to build an altar to your body like Helga Pataki does to Arnold and Hey Arnold. So if you want to, that would be incredible. And if you do, please let me know. Just start with one thing a day. Just list out one small thing you're grateful for about your body, even if it's something as simple as, I'm lucky to have a body that gets me around. Simple, to the point. It could be, I feel lucky I don't have to be on any medications right now. I feel lucky that I'm digesting my food comfortably. I don't know what it is, you play with it. And hopefully over time, there's no rush. Hopefully over time, this can build into bigger appreciations about your body. Personally, for me, I have a big list. I'm grateful for my skin, how it's grown with me throughout this life. It has stretched to accommodate the person I am and I've become, no matter what size. I'm grateful for my hair, even though I'm on a hair journey. If anything, my hair journey has reignited my appreciation for my hair. Oh my God. Checking nervously. I love my hair. I love playing with it. I love styling it. I love washing it. I love combing it. I love my hair because it reminds me of my mother's family, who are some of the most beautiful people in the world to me. And it makes me feel connected to them. I'm grateful for a thick booty. Can't see it, but she's cute. I'm grateful for my tiny little chest. I haven't always been, but today I am. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that I love running as much as I do and I have a small chest. Trust me, most of the women on my father's side of the family have big boobies. And they have had to get breast reductions because it's so uncomfortable and they all hate running. And you know what? I understand. I don't think I would enjoy running 10 miles nearly as much if I had that kind of strain on my back. Lucky girl. Lucky grateful girl here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be ceremonial. It doesn't have to be ornate. Just set a reminder every day for yourself on your phone. Maybe right before you go to bed, maybe right when you first wake up, whenever it works best for you. And can just pop up, body gratitude. What part of my body am I feeling today? Who do I want to say thank you to? When you're on the internet, it is so easy to slide into a comparison game and think, wow, this person has so much going for her. She has a perfect body. She's so happy. I don't have a perfect body, and so maybe I don't deserve to be happy. Maybe I have some work I gotta do before I'm allowed to be happy, which is silly. If you think that, no, not here, not in this corner of the internet, babe. Just dedicating even 1 minute a day to reminding yourself of the things that you like about your body and the ways that you're thankful for it is really helpful for breaking through that train of thought. And again, like with the previous tip, it just increases the number of positive interactions and positive thoughts you have around your body to help counterbalance all of the negative messaging that is rich in our media landscape. All right, next step. So I said earlier that I try to the best of my ability to curate who I follow online, and I'm really looking for body positivity or body neutrality. Some of my favorite people online: Natasha Sienne, Whitney Simmons is great. On the actor side, I love Florence Pugh. That girl loves to eat, she loves food, and you would never catch her talking shit about her body. And I think a natural extension of this rule is to seek out people in your IRL life who have positive relationships to their bodies. Spend more time with those people, learn from them, observe how they talk about food, how they talk about their bodies, what their relationships to those things are. In my own life, for example, growing up, I was very, very lucky because I grew up with a mom who had a pretty healthy relationship to her body. I mean, my mom's an immigrant, so I don't think I would go so far as to say body positivity, because I think that would be kind of a weird word to describe her given the culture that she grew up in. She grew up in Southeast Asia. So I think my mom is a good example of body neutrality. It was very rare for me to hear my mom say anything negative about her body. Like, I can probably count on one hand the number of times I heard my mom be disparaging about her body. And that's including even more neutral statements like, oh, I'd like to lose a little weight. I remember when I was a kid, I once saw her buy those Slim Fast shakes in the 90s, and I was like, what are those? And she's like, they're weight loss shakes. Like, she seemed like just as like befuddled by them as I was. And these are things that I often saw in my friends' homes, but we never had in our home. So when they appeared one day, I was like, who let you in? And the next week they were gone, and I asked her where they were, and she was like, I hated the taste. Like, I'm just gonna eat less white rice. I was like, cool, good talk. However, even in spite of that positive role model, I still struggled with my body image growing up. And a lot of that is because of my larger environment. It is kind of like a net-net equation. When you consider all of the inputs in your environment, what does it net out to? Is it mainly positive, or is it mainly negative? Or is it neutral? Whatever the answer is, adjust accordingly. And it's not to say that your environment always has to be filled with like overwhelmingly positive messaging. I don't think that's a realistic expectation. For me, my ideal is to literally just not think about my body that much. To think about it from a performance perspective, sure, like I like to think about how strong it is. I like to think about working my muscle. I like to think about running, but really thinking about how it looks, I'd like the majority of my media landscape to be pretty much neutral most of the time, because I don't want to think about my body all the time. That's not healthy. I'm a busy gal. I got a lot of shit going on. Like, I want my body to be in happy, healthy, functioning order. I would like to feel strong in it. I would like to feel competent and capable in it. When the mood strikes, I want to be able to run a race or do fun things outdoors that I like to do, like surf or go snowboarding or go hiking. But I don't want the price I pay for that to be having to constantly think about my body. And so neutrality is always kind of the middle ground that I'm searching for. However, I will note, because there is already so much negative messaging around bodies to begin with, I do think having people who are positive and healthy role models provides a helpful counterbalance to what already exists in our day-to-day lives. And so as much as you can find creators online and people in your real life who talk about their body in a positive and healthy way, who spend their time developing what their body is able to do, as opposed to obsessing over what it looks like, who find pride in what their bodies are able to accomplish rather than what they weigh, and really relish in the types of activities that these bodies are able to carry them through, as opposed to obsessing over how much space these bodies take up. That's always going to be a win in my book. This is true for social media, and this is true with the company that you keep in real life. So I mentioned my mom a few moments ago and how I felt really lucky growing up with her as a role model. And that's because I know a lot of women who grew up with moms who had really problematic relationships to food and their bodies. And you would think that growing up with a positive role model and my mom would have spared me from some of those body image issues, which, to be fair, I think it did like save me a little bit of time. Like, maybe I wasn't starting so far back behind the starting line. But my mom was only one person in my life. I also had a lot of women in my family, or friends of my mom, or my friends with moms, who had really problematic relationships to food, their body image, to dieting. And this is not to blame or shame them in any way. We are all products of our time. But I bring that up because despite having a really great role model in my mom, having all of these other people around really sent mixed signals to me as a kid. And as I got older, once I realized how confusing that was for me as a little kid, as an adult, I really made it my mission to only talk about body image stuff with people people I admired, who had approaches that felt good to me. Like, if I have a friend who's really into dieting, as much as I love them, as much as I can talk to them about other stuff, I'm probably not going to talk about food with them. If they are constantly trying to be thinner than they are, if they're constantly picking at their body, if I ever hear them scrutinizing some other woman's body, that's a hard line for me. And again, this isn't to put down these people, definitely not. My general assumption is, hey, we're all working through shit. We're all just walking each other home. I want to try to give people a long runway to deal with their shit. But that doesn't mean I have to let them into this specific corner of my life. It doesn't mean I have to talk about these sensitive topics with them. And I think that's where a lot of us get into trouble. We are not discerning enough about the standard of person in whom we confide our fears and insecurities about our bodies, our weight, whatever. And here's the thing also, like, we're talking about the algorithmic internet. You don't know what their algorithm looks like. You don't know what content they're being served. You don't know what cleanses are being sold to them. It's scary out there. And if someone doesn't perfectly share your view on these things, like, that's okay. That doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. It doesn't mean you can't talk to them about other deep shit. It just means for this topic, they might not fit the bill, and that's okay. It's okay to be discerning. In my life, I'm only going to talk to people about my body if I get the sense that they have a healthy relationship to their body, that they get a lot of joy out of it, and that they enjoy the process of taking care of themselves. It's been an overall positive change in my life, and I think it'll be overall positive for you as well. All right, that's an easy segue to my next and final point. Once you find these people, hold on to them for dear life and have these types of conversations with them early and often. And when I say talk about these things early and often, what I mean is don't internalize it. Talk to them if you are struggling in your relationship with your body, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you are in a challenging season, if you are struggling to accept your body at a different size. Or maybe you've experienced some health issues. Or maybe you've just spent too much goddamn time on TikTok. Don't hold it in. Don't be a hero. If this stuff starts to build up, don't internalize it. If you have someone to talk to them about it. Chances are they're going through something very similar, or they have gone through something similar, or they've gone through it enough times that they will not be surprised. They will not bat an eye. In-person conversations like this with my girlfriends are not only so comforting and reassuring, they remind me that we are all human and we all deal with the same bullshit. We all deal with the intrusive thoughts. We all can be really mean to ourselves. We can all be bitches to ourselves. We're all hypercritical of ourselves. Also, these conversations are just like most of the time fucking hilarious to me. Here is one example. All right, so last fall, I was trying to get some recommendations for tall black boots. I'd be talking to my friends. I'm like, yeah, I have like Blundstones, I have Doc Martens, I have rain boots, but I just want like a chic, tall pair that's not over the knee that I can wear with tights and a dress with a long coat for a date. Simple, right? No. I think I probably asked, let's say, a dozen or so women for boot recommendations. I shit you not, 11 out of these 12 women were like, I'm also looking for brand recommendations for boots. I always struggle because I don't know if you've noticed this about me, but I have huge calves. I was like, do you? I've literally never noticed that about you. I'd be on a walk and I would think to myself, like, these women are all different. Their ages ranging from 25 to literally 43 years old. White women, black women, Latino women, Asian women, different heights, different sizes. I was like, okay, this is a random sample. Statistically, you can't all have fucking bigger than average calves. Unless I have some weird subconscious friend fetish thing where I'm like only friends with women with huge calves. I mean, listen, that is within the realm of possibility. Let's be fair. Is it that you all have big calves, or is it that shoemakers are just trying to fuck us up? Like, are they not making shoes that actually fit women in the way they want them to fit? I'm not trying to like start a conspiracy theory. I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. Statistically, these shoes have to fit some of you. I'm like, sure, you can have big calves. That's fine. Beautiful. But as I'm going through this list, like Mitt Romney and his binders of women, of the 11 who told me this, I would maybe see 2 of them as having bigger than average calves. And that's because one of them is a runner and one of them is a swimmer. So that leaves 9 other women who just for some reason think that their calves are so monstrous they can't possibly fit into boots off the shelf. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. That is so funny to me. I went back to each of them and told them, like, I humbly present to you my findings from my boot study. Something is happening. Someone call the police. Like, is this a white space in the market? What's going on? I think the best conversations that I have that are the most reassuring to me, that make me feel more grounded, that make me appreciate and laugh at the experience of being a human woman on planet Earth, are the conversations that I have in real life over dinner, over wine, over coffee with the women that I love. It is the best thing, just having a hoot at the crazy fucking experience it is to be a human in this year of our Lord 2025. What a time to be alive. And I want the same for you, okay? The important thing to remember is that none of this stuff is gonna happen overnight. It's gonna happen over time. And like I've said throughout the video, we all live in a society in which we are constantly receiving messaging, advertising, trying to sell us solutions to problems that we didn't even know we had. Building a strong, healthy, happy relationship to your body to counteract all of that messaging is just gonna take some time. So you may as well start now, you may as well make it fun, and you may as well find some humor in it. Keep it light, find your people, curate your social inputs, find a way of moving your body that lets you live more fully in it. And every day, try to find something, no matter how small, that you can appreciate about this big, beautiful, gorgeous thing that moves you through the world. All right, that's all we have for today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you guys. What are some ways you've improved your relationship with your body? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!